So then the other thing I would want to work on is some leash walking with you, you know, where we can go outside real quick, whichever way you guys like to go, and look at how she's doing on the leash, and then give you some tips and tricks for that. Is that something you're good with doing?
Yeah, definitely. Because she also really, it's so annoying trying to put a leash on her because she bites.
Oh, she's fighting you as soon
yeah,
as you
she
get
fights
it.
me to try to get the leash on, and
Yeah.
she goes crazy. I try to tell her to sit so I can get her, you know, to stay calm. She rolls on her back. She tries biting me, so it's a process.
That's a headache. Yeah. So before we do that, we'll just talk real quick about just overall training progression, because it's one thing to establish boundaries in the house, like with the leash we talked about, the counter surfing the water and the trash, for example. But as soon as we start teaching behavior, like how to act on a leash, you know, how to be on a leash, once we start that, we need to kind of think about overall training progression. So progression is just where are we at right now, where are we trying to get. Obviously with the leash walking, we'd like her to walk on a nice loose leash, be respectful of the leash, not playing tug of war with the leash, you know. So the way we're going to do that is we want to build up the best behavior from her with food rewards. I'm assuming she's probably pretty food motivated with how you're saying she's devouring her food. And so at the beginning of a training progression, when you're starting to build up behaviors, you are going to be using more food than you would long term. But you just got to keep the long term goal in mind. It's like, all right, we need to use food right now to build up the behavior that we want, the nice behaviors. And then once we get those behaviors pretty solid, now we're going to start not using food so much. We're going to slowly start getting rid of the food in our training and just not having the food, using our physical touch or our leash, you know, to be a communication with her. So if you're cool with it, I can get your leash, or you can, you know, I can hold your leash and then I can put it on her, so I can kind of test that out with her, see how she's going to be with the tug of war and the biting and all that kind of stuff. Now, which way do you normally take her out? You normally go out the back door or the front door with her?
We normally go.
Ruby.
We can go either way.
Okay.
We can go out the front door here.
Okay.
I don't know, because I didn't realize the rockabilly cue's going on too, so it's crazy over
Oh,
here.
I got you.
So,
Yeah. I got you. So I just put the leash on her. She didn't really give me any trouble. Is that normal, or is that just because I'm a stranger, you think?
Probably because you're a stranger.
Yeah.
She's always on her best when we're around strangers.
Okay.
So we'll take her up there, and she's just a perfect, like,
Oh my goodness.
sitting there waiting
Yeah.
for pets, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why aren't you having us go home? You're psycho at
Yeah,
home.
I got you. So let's say, for example, she was giving me a hard time. Okay, so she did just try to, you know, mouth me real quick. I've got some food rewards right here. So all I would do, let me just show her that I've got some food rewards, okay? I give her a food reward, and then I'm going to go for her collar, all right? Once I put this on, because it was a good repetition, right, I can say good, give her another food reward. And so what this over time will do is she's getting reinforced for what we just did. So if I just put this on and she's having a good job, like right now I'm just grabbing onto it, she's nice and calm, I'm reaching down, I just attach her leash to her collar right there, good, right? Okay. And what this will do is over time just communicate to her that the word good means she's doing the right thing, and that she can keep doing that, and we'll give her a food reward for that, okay? So that concept we can apply to a lot of different things, including just overall loose leash walking in general too. And if she's jumping up, obviously we would not give her anything for that. You know, if she jumped up, we could ignore that. We could use the leash to move her away from the jump up. Notice right here how she's kind of pulling towards the door. One thing we can do in this case, and this will help us with loose leash walking too, is we have a food reward. We gently pull her away from the door. We reward her over here when the leash is loose, okay? If she jumps up, she gets nothing, right? But if she decides to sit, good, or some other good behavior, you know, in that case, she would get the reward. And what we're doing with the rewards is just trying to communicate to her, this is a behavior that I like, this is a behavior that's acceptable. You don't get anything for the jumping or mouthing or grabbing the leash, good, right? Anything like that. Does that kind of make sense, that concept? Okay. So we'll step outside real quick. We'll see how she is on the sidewalk. And everything we're doing, don't let the little guy out. Everything we're doing, we want to try and build her behavior up the way we want it, right? So if she's pulling on the leash or anything, what I would do right here is just wait, right? And because we want to build up loose leash walking, we could back up, right? We can reward her for giving us a loose leash, you know? And then as soon as she's calm again, we can bring her out over here. And if we were to like let her go potty right now, Ruby, go potty. This would be her time where she can pull a little bit on the leash, right? But it's not going to be pulling us down the street or anything. You know what I'm saying? So like only when we're going potty is it the time where I'll let her pull on the leash just a little bit just to get that potty going. But as soon as that's over, we're back to focusing on the loose leash walking and having all 4 paws on the ground, right? And whenever I tell her to go potty, and that's just the word I use. I don't know if you have a different word or anything, but once I tell her to go potty, I just give her a couple minutes, let her figure out a place if she's going to go to the bathroom, if she's not too distracted or anything. Also could move around a little bit just like this, use the leash to guide her to where I'd like her to go to the bathroom. And then as soon as we're done with that, well, she just wants to hang out and have some food awards right now, but as soon as we're done with that, you know, then we just go back to whatever training session we were doing at the time, okay? Which for her, I would focus on the leash walking right now if I was working on her, right? So all I would do was start walking, and you could just do this short of a sidewalk area right here, but as soon as we start walking, if she's staying with me like this, which she just knows that I have food rewards with me, she's jumping up a little bit. Remember, she's not going to get anything for jumping up, but if she keeps all 4 paws on the ground, I can just reward her right here on my left side. Good, right? Loose leash, good. And the reason why I would just keep rewarding her right here is because what that does is builds up reinforcement history to where she's understanding that if you're over on this side of me, you get rewards over here, right? If you're pulling on the leash, you get nothing. If you jump up, you get nothing. And then you could do it over here if you wanted to on your right side. It's your preference as to wherever you want her to walk, right? But we're just building up a reinforcement history, and it's super simple. You could just take the sidewalk like this right here. You start walking. She's staying over here. She's giving us some good attention. She's maintaining a loose leash. We can say good. We can reward her, okay? Let's say, for example, she started walking off on us like she's doing right there. We would just stop, not let her reinforce herself by walking off anywhere, you know? Now she comes to do this. Good, right? Loose leash, not jumping, so we're good to go there. We start walking again, right? If she starts running off, taking off or whatever like that, we just stop right here. Good. Notice how she gives us the loose leash. She's pretty fast on picking it all up, you know? So that's basically what that would look like. Okay, do you want to do a couple reps of that? I'll give you a food reward. I can hold your poop bags for you. There you go. A couple food rewards right there for you. And I just want you to walk down this sidewalk right here. And, you know, if she starts pulling, you just stop. Good. And then you just reward her. Okay. And you start going at your pace. And if you feel like she's walking off, good. Notice how she's staying with you. Yep. Obviously, she knows you're training right now. That's why it's important to understand that at the beginning of training, right, we are going to be using more food rewards right now than we would be doing long term. But this is how we build up the behavior. You know what I'm saying? Just start walking again. Yep, good. Start walking. Perfect. Good. Nope, good. So if she jumps up, we're just ignoring her, right? If she maintains a loose leash or checking in with you, obviously that's a good. And then if she's pulling, you know, you're going to stop. You could turn around too and start walking the other way. Okay. As soon as she comes up next to you and is doing this kind of stuff right here, good, reward her. You see what I'm saying? So that'd be the focus with that, okay? Let me give you a few more and you can just do a couple more repetitions, okay? Yep, go ahead. Good, nope, yep, good. Start walking again, yep. Yep, just keep going that way, keep going, good, good. She's easily distractible, you know, but once she picks up on this, it'll be very smooth, and you just keep going that way. Yep, good. So you never let her guide you on where to go. You never let her kind of, you know, pull you that way or anything. You always try to hold your ground, and then have her turn around and come back to you. And then if there's any jumping, that's 100% ignored. But even if you don't have food, right? If she's sitting versus jumping, good, right? Give her the physical touch reward.
Sorry, she's so
and
dirty.
go from there. No, you're good.
Went to the park earlier.
You're good. Oh yeah, no, she had a good time. Yeah. Let me see your leash real quick. So that's the first thing I'd be doing, okay, would be focusing on the loose leash. Okay. And if you wanted her on your left side versus right side, you would try to do everything over here on your left side, okay? So your rewards would be over here, right? Ruby. Good. Your rewards would be over here, whatever. If you wanted her on the right side, it's just the opposite. Your rewards would just be over here. Notice she's following the food with me.
Oh, okay.
So I can kind of use my hand with the food in it, just as an example. And I can just bring her to my right side right here, start walking. Good. And I can try to keep moving while I'm doing that. All right. And then the other thing I'm trying to do is trying to maintain a loose leash at all times, right? So if the leash is ever tight, or if she's jumping a lot, notice how she's kind of jumping a lot, demanding, we could try to use the leash to bring her over to our left side. But because she doesn't know how to move with the leash yet, you could do a combination of leash in your hand. Okay, so I got food in my hand, leash right here. If I were to pull with just the leash, okay, she did it that time, but the other time she was not moving with the leash, okay? So what I would want her to do is learn how to move with the leash instead of against it. So we would have a piece of food in our hand. We would have the leash. We would pull the leash into our hand like that. Then we could start walking again and keep the leash loose.
Okay.
Does that make sense? You want to try that? Yeah.
So this is just to make sure that she's not going all over the place?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's to teach her how to walk on a loose leash.
Okay.
Okay? Which later, once you're good with it, right, she'll stop doing it without the food too. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So first, just, pull on the leash a little bit, use your hand, show her that you have food in your hand, okay? Yep. And then once she gives that to the loose leash, which now you did, now you can say good and reward her. Then if you want, we can start walking back this way, and I just want you to practice as you're walking. So you just start walking. If she's pulling at all, you stop, keep moving, yep. And if she's walking next to you, keeping that leash loose, you would say good, give her a reward, good. Yep, good. Good. Yep, if she does that, just slow down, stop. Yep, good, now, perfect. Now what you could do is bring her to your left side again, and then start walking, reward her on your left side, okay? Yep, good, right there's perfect, good. Excellent, excellent. Yep. Let me see her again just so I can show you if I was like doing this for a session, like a full session with her by myself. This is what it would look like, okay? Ruby, come here. Good girl. So I'll just start at this car right here, walk towards you. So she's following me pretty good. So I would just guide her to my left side right here. I start walking. I got the leash in my right hand so my left hand can get the rewards for me. Notice how she's kind of being demanding. So I use the leash, bring her to my left side. As long as she's right here, she gets the reward. I'm going at a slow pace. Good. Notice how I use the leash to bring her back to my left side when she goes behind me. You see what I'm saying? I just go at a slow pace. If she goes off to sniff, not too much of a big deal unless the leash gets tight, which in that case I'm going to use the leash to bring her back to my left side. Good. Good. And so what we're doing right now is we're just building up reinforcement history or habit of walking with a loose leash, which she's doing pretty good. She's picking it up pretty quick, right? Good girl.
She definitely is all over the place.
Oh yeah, don't let her do that anymore. Yeah.
She's tugging on my arm.
Yeah, don't let her do that anymore. So let's just have you, here's some food rewards for you. Let's just have you walk back this way, doing the same thing I was just doing, okay? Just use the leash to bring her to your side, reward her for keeping a loose leash. Good. Yeah, see how she wants to pull super hard? Just use the leash to bring her back to you. Yep, good. Reward. Perfect. And you keep walking. Okay. Yep.
So I pull it on this side?
Just whatever side you want her to walk on. If it's your left side or your right side, whatever side. Good. I just have a habit of doing it on my left side. Yep. Good. Here's some food rewards for you. Good. So just like you're doing, every time she goes ahead of you, you just guide her back to whatever side you want her on, okay? Yep, good. And this is also teaching her that she doesn't get to control you, right? Because if she's pulling and then you're following her, she's thinking she's controlling you.
Yeah.
So every time she does that, you're basically reversing it so that she's got to focus on you. If she's jumping, you're just going to ignore her. Good, now you can reward, okay? Perfect. Does that make sense? Yeah, any questions about that? No? Okay, yeah, that's looking pretty good. Let me see her again. Show you a couple other things real quick. If you're out here, like whenever you guys are taking your walks, versus instead of just taking a walk and she's pulling all over the place, you could just walk back and forth right here, really focus on, excuse me, her being next to you on your whatever side with a loose leash.
Okay.
I'd rather see quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Like of 20 minutes, I'd rather be having a good quality loose leash 20 minutes than getting 20 minutes down the road and she's pulling me super hard. So that's something I would keep in mind if I was you guys.
Okay.
But the other things you could start working on too, if you wanted to, would be other obedience. And what that does is it allows you to give her a job. So she already knows to sit. You guys have taught her how to do that, right? Now, if she's ever distracted whenever you ask her to sit and she doesn't sit, you could say no, just like this. You know, that'd be a little leash correction. No, tug and pull on the leash. That's a little leash correction for her. Then once she's sitting after that, you could say good. You know, if there's a distraction, she might not sit. The other thing you could start working on, I don't know if you have already, is some down. So all you would do, looks like she's done a little bit with it. Good. Is just take some food in your hand. Again, we're using a lot of food at the beginning of training. You just bring it in your hand right here, show it to her nose, and then you just gently move her downward until her elbows are all the way on the ground. Good. Okay. And notice how she gets right back up.
Yeah.
So once she gets comfortable laying down, now we got to get her starting to be comfortable staying down. Okay.
Yeah, she's all over.
That's the hard
She
part,
shows her
right?
belly, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
lay
yeah.
down.
So the staying down, the first thing I do for that is I'm getting her just to stay down for a little bit longer. So all I do for that is I'll bring her into a down position, okay? And basically the way you work on your duration is you get your interval of time between your rewards to lengthen just a little bit, okay? Notice how she doesn't necessarily want to lay down. She's like trying to avoid it a little. Good. So what I'll notice how she's right back up,
Yeah.
okay? So this just takes a little bit of patience and time to get this going here. And just bring her right back down right here. Good. Notice I'm trying to stay right where I was at right here. Okay, she's staying down pretty good right here. She gets back up, I just bring her right back down. Good. She gets right back up, no big deal. Just take her right back down. So it's a
Love all
little,
these treats.
oh yeah. It's a little bit of work for us at the beginning because we're going up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
But long term, we're trying to get her to where she's comfortable staying in a down position for a little bit longer period of time. So you would just keep working her going down, increase that interval of time to where she's staying there for more than a couple seconds, you know, and then you'll start to see her naturally just being good with laying down for a little bit longer. And at that point, it's like, okay, now we can seriously focus on that stay position. You know what I'm saying?